How's it going, gamers? We're back with part 2 of Nick Reads, and today we're going to be jumping into classes. We're going with the Barbarian today. So, a tall human tribesman strides through a blizzard, draped in fur and hefting his axe. He laughs as he charges towards the frost giant who dared poach his people's elk herd. A half-orc snarls at the latest challenger to her authority over their savage tribe, ready to break his neck with her bare hands as she did the last 6 rivals. Frothing at the mouth, a dwarf slams his helmet into the face of his drow foe, then turns to drive his armored elbow into the gut of another. These barbarians, different as they might be, are defined by their rage, unbridled, unquenchable, and unthinking fury. More than a mere emotion, their anger is the ferocity of a cornered predator, the unrelenting assault of a storm, the churning turmoil of the sea. For some, their rage springs from a communion with fierce animal spirits. Others draw from a roiling reservoir of anger at a world full of pain. For every barbarian, rage is a power that fuels not just a battle frenzy, but also uncanny reflexes, resilience, and feats of strength. So, for those of you who don't know, barbarians are... Well, they're barbarians. They're usually uncivilized, using very large weapons, oftentimes a great axe, other times, kind of like the dwarf, you just, I've got this with me, smash! One of the things that I kind of tell new players to think of is the Hulk. Simply because the angrier that you get, the stronger you get. So let's get past the fluff knowledge now. And we're going to jump straight into stat blocks and all that. So, when you create a barbarian, typically you're going to want to prioritize strength and constitution, because you're going to be able to deal more damage and take more damage. That's always going to be good, because if you're playing the barbarian in your party, and you're not a party of barbarians, you are typically going to be the meat shield. You have the biggest hit die of a D12. And smash good, book bad is the overarching type for a barbarian, if you will. So, level 1, your proficiency bonus is +2, as with every class. The class features are Rage and Unarmored Defense. I'll explain what that is as I go through. You have 2 Rages, and your bonus damage is a +2. At level 2, you get Reckless Attack and Danger Sense. Level 3, you take your Primal Path. You get an extra Rage, but your damage doesn't increase. At level 4, like with every class, you get either an ability score improvement, or if you're using the feat system, a feat. Level 5, your proficiency bonus goes to +3 because you're in the next tier, as the book wants to call it. You get an extra attack and fast movement. Level 6, you get the Path feature from what you picked up at level 3. You also get an extra Rage, so you're now at 4. Level 7, you get Feral Instinct. Level 8, again with the ability score improvement or another feat. Level 9, you go into Tier 3, so your proficiency bonus goes to +4. You also gain Brutal Critical. Your Rage damage also goes up to 3 instead of 2. At level 10, you gain another Path feature. Level 11, you gain Relentless Rage. Level 12, you gain another either ability score improvement or another feat. You also get an extra Rage. Level 13, you are now in the last Paragon. Well, sorry, the third, tier Paragon type thing. It's going to be at a +5 for your proficiency bonus. You get an additional boost to your Brutal Critical. You're still at 5 Rages, and the damage is at +3. Level 14, you get another Path feature. Level 15, you get Persistent Rage. Level 16, another ability score improvement or a feat. Your damage also increases to +4 for your Rage. Level 17, you now hit Tier 4. So your proficiency bonus is going to be at a +6. You gain another bonus to Brutal Critical. You get 6 Rages. Level 18, you have Indomitable Might. Level 19, another ability score improvement or a feat. And then level 20, you cap out with Primal Champion an unlimited number of rages. Your damage is at +4. So, kind of a lot to take in without the chart in front of you. Class features. You have a D12 for your hit die. Obviously, your points, is going to be 12 plus whatever your con mod is. You have light armor, medium armor, and shields for your armor proficiencies. Your weapon proficiencies include simple weapons and martial weapons. You are not proficient with any tools. Your saving throws are going to be strength and constitution, the two that I mentioned earlier that you want to focus on. You get 2 skills. Animal handling, athletics, intimidation, nature, perception, and survival. I'm going to skip the equipment feature for now. I'll put that in at the end. So let's go straight into rage. In battle, you fight with primal ferocity. On your turn, you can enter a rage as a bonus action. While raging, you gain the following benefits if you aren't wearing heavy armor. You have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. When you make a melee weapon attack using strength, you gain a bonus to the damage roll that increases as you gain levels as a barbarian. That's the thing I was mentioning earlier with the plus, 2, 3, and 4 and all that. You also have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. So it's going to be the main weapon types. Someone wants to try and stab you with a rapier, you've got resistance to it. Someone wants to cast fireball, you don't have resistance to it. Somebody wants to do some sort of psychic damage, you do not have resistance to it. They want to drop a rock on you, you have resistance to it. If you are able to cast spells, you cannot cast them or concentrate on them while raging. Your rage lasts for 1 minute. It ends early if you are knocked unconscious, or if your turn ends and you haven't attacked a hostile creature since your last turn, or taken damage since then. So what that means is that you can't just go into a rage and then not do anything with it. You have to either be hit or hitting something. Well, you can miss. You have to at least try to hit something or be hit. Take damage in some way. That's kind of what fuels the rage, is sheer bloodlust. You can also end your rage on your turn as a bonus action. So you've done what you need to do. You don't feel like, hulking out, if you will, for the next, 30 seconds or whatever. Boom, done. I did what I needed to do. I'm cool now. Once you have raged a number of times shown in your barbarian levels, that's the thing I was reading off, the 2, the 3, and the 4 and all that, you must finish a long rest before you can rage again. So, initially, like back in 3rd edition, you raged, and then you would be fatigued for a little while. You would kind of rest, and then you would rage again, but that was, like, per day, that was it. This is kind of the same thing, except you don't, suffer levels of exhaustion or fatigue. It's just a number of times per long rest. So if you need to rage back to back for some reason, you've got 2 of those at, level 1. So it's like, okay, boom, that's 2 full minutes of rage if you actually need them. And then obviously you got to do the long rest. And the next class feature is going to be unarmored defense. When you are not wearing any armor, your armor class equals 10 plus your dex mod, as it normally would. Also, plus your constitution modifier. So that means if you have, let's say, an 18 in constitution and a 15 in dex, those are +4, +2 respectively. With no armor, you're already looking at a 16 AC. Barbarians kind of have this thing of not being armored. They usually go into battle wearing furs at most, usually at least bare-chested, to show their prowess in battle. So, hit me, go ahead. Let's see how much damage you can really do before I kill you. And they're kind of continuing with that trope. I like that. There's a side note in this that you can also wear a shield and still gain this benefit. So let's say you've got a pretty solid battle axe in one hand, a heavy steel shield in the other. Let's run it with the 18 Constitution, 15 in Dex. You are now looking at an 18 AC, I believe, if the heavy steels are still running the same. So without, running completely naked into battle with just a shield and an axe, you have an 18 AC. That's better than most fighters. And you're naked. Balls of steel, almost literally. So, at second level, you gain Reckless Attack. You can throw aside all concern for defense and attack with a fierce desperation. When you make your first attack on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly. Doing so gives you advantage on melee weapon attack rolls using strength during this turn. But attack rolls against you also have advantage until your next turn. So it's a small gambit to try and use, but if you are confident that your dice aren't going to let you down, or that your DM's dice aren't horribly biased against you, this is definitely going to be something you're going to want to do almost every time. Think of it like a haymaker instead of a jab. Jabs are concise. If you miss, you're right back for the guard. Haymakers, if you hit, then great. If you miss, well, now you're leading with your chin, and that's bad. So you gain advantage against your opponents. They gain advantage against you. Off times, you're going to be dealing more damage than they will anyway. I would say worth it. Also at level 2, you gain Danger Sense. At second level, you gain an uncanny sense of when things nearby aren't as they should be, giving you an edge when you dodge away from danger. You have advantage on dexterity saving throws against effects that you can see, such as traps and spells. To gain this benefit, you cannot be blinded, deafened, or incapacitated. So if any one of those three conditions are affecting you, you do not gain the benefit of Danger Sense. Primal Path. At third level, you choose a path that shapes the nature of your rage. Choose a path of the Berserker, the path of the Totem Warrior, both detailed at the end of the class descriptions. Those I'm going to get to kind of as they just appear in this line. So, ability score improvement, obviously where those kick off. Extra attack. Beginning at 5th level, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take an attack action on your turn. So, let's say you were using that with Reckless Attack. That's 2 attacks that you have advantage on both of. And let's say you're running with a Great Axe. That's a D12 plus hopefully a fairly high strength. You've got advantage on that. Use it. Fast movement. Starting at 5th level, your speed increases by 10 feet while you aren't wearing heavy armor. So if you feel the need to wear armor, maybe it's like a character thing. Most barbarians typically won't because their constitution and their dex will simply scale with it. You could be wearing medium armor, carrying a heavy load, and you still get that extra movement, unlike where in 3rd edition, if you simply had medium encumbrance, or even heavy encumbrance, you would lose that. With this, at least as far as what I've read, that's what it says, while you aren't wearing heavy armor. So you can be almost in a full load capacity, provided your DM decides to use that variant rule. Let's say you can carry 500 pounds. If you're carrying 499, you still get that speed boost. Feral Instinct. By 7th level, your instincts are so honed that you have advantage on initiative rolls. That's always good. Additionally, if you are surprised at the beginning of combat and aren't incapacitated, you can act normally on your first turn, but only if you enter a rage before doing anything else that turn. So, you have advantage on initiative checks. That's always going to be good because it helps you go first in combat, or, whatever else you happen to be doing. If you happen to be surprised, let's say you're going through the Underdark, you have a couple of Drow assassins that jump the party, you can act normally so long as you go into that rage. Pretty much, you're surprised. No, I'm not! And then you kind of hopefully walk on their faces. They're just Drow. Brutal Critical. Beginning at 9th level, you can roll 1 additional weapon damage die when determining the extra damage for a critical hit with a melee weapon. I need to work on my charisma because my speech is a little off right now. This increases to 2 additional dice at 13th level and 3 additional dice at 17th level. So what that means is, where now in 5th edition every weapon is simply just double damage, now, at least as a barbarian at 9th level, you would be dealing triple damage. At level 13, you would be dealing quadruple damage, and at 17, it's pentuple damage. You'd be getting, rolling 5 damage die on a critical strike, which is a lot ridiculous. It's also very fun. Relentless Rage. Starting at 11th level, your rage can keep you fighting despite grievous wounds. If you drop to 0 hit points while you are raging and don't die outright, you can make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw. If you succeed, and you should, you drop to 1 hit point instead. Each time you use this feature after the first, the DC increases by 5. So let's say you get hit again and would be dropped to, like, say, -3 or whatever. You'd be DC 15. You get hit again, DC 20, and so on. When you finish a short or a long rest, the DC resets to 10. So if you're getting beat up that bad, probably best to take a short rest after. At the very least, just to get that feature back, but hopefully to expend some hit die and get some actual hit points back. Persistent Rage. Beginning at 15th level, your rage is so fierce that it ends early only if you fall unconscious or if you choose it to end. So let's say somebody happens to cast Charm Person while you're raging, and they happen to actually succeed, and like say you fail the check, then your rage will keep going. It's just you don't attack that guy. Indomitable Might. Beginning at 18th level, your total for a strength check is less than your strength score. Sorry, if your total for a strength check is less than your score, you can use that score in place of your total. So by 18th level, you should have 20 in strength at the very least. Because, well, it's level 18, you're a barbarian. Where else are you putting those points? If you happen to roll your 20 for a check for something, and let's say you end up with, like, 9, what barbarian is going to do a 9? So what this is telling you is that at level 18 and beyond, you can use your strength score in place of your check if your check is lower. So that 9 automatically becomes that 20 that you have. Now, it doesn't count for a nat 20, mind you. It's just as if you had rolled a 20 without the, well, I rolled a nat 20, I automatically succeed rule. It doesn't say anything about not also getting your +5 modifier to that. So me personally, I would rule that, yeah, your score is essentially what you rolled minus the, automatic success, and then you would add that +5 to it. So that's my personal ruling as a DM. So you happen to roll anything less than a 25, mind you. Boom, there you go. That's kind of what's what your strength check would always be at that point, unless you rolled a 1. If you rolled a 1, that's an automatic fail regardless. I'm sorry, not sorry. Primal Champion. At 20th level, you embody the power of the wilds. Your strength and constitution score increases by 4. Your maximum for these scores is now 24. So 5th edition has this thing to where your ability scores cannot be modified without some hardcore magic over 20. This supersedes that rule because you have become, I guess, animal-like in just pure essence. So your strength and wellness of body can go beyond that of normal limits without magical enhancement. This boosts the cap to 24 instead of just 20. So let's get into the primal paths now, and we'll wrap this video up. Primal paths. Rage burns in every barbarian's heart, a furnace that drives him or her towards greatness. Different barbarians attribute their rage to different sources. However, for some, it is an internal reservoir where pain, grief, and anger are forged into a fury as hard as steel. Others see it as a spiritual blessing, a gift from a total animal. So, the path of the Berserker is one of the first paths you can take. For some barbarians, rage is a means to an end, that end being violence. The path of the Berserker is a path of untrammeled fury, slick with blood. As you enter the Berserker's rage, your thrill and chaos of battle, heedless of your own health and well-being. So, the path of the Berserker is like the old-school Viking Berserker. You will cut down any and everyone that gets in your way. Ally be damned. So, the first thing you get when you choose the path of the Berserker is known as Frenzy. Starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, you can go into a frenzy when you rage. If you do so, for the duration of your rage, you can make a single melee attack against, as a bonus action, on each of your turns. So pretty much at level 3, if you take this, you essentially get the level 5 bonus attack at level 3. And then at level 5, if you're raging, that's 3 attacks, as far as I understand it. That's how I would rule it as a DM, me personally. So, when the rage ends, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion. So, when you frenzy out and you take those extra attacks, you are working yourself down. Yes, that is going to be a thing. But that's an extra attack. Yes. I can wait for a little bit and be a little winded after that. I'm okay with that. At level 6, you gain Mindless Rage. Beginning at 6th level, you can't be charmed or frightened while raging. So there goes the whole charm person thing. Boom. Completely gone if you go with Berserker. If you are charmed or frightened when you enter the rage, the effect is suspended for the duration of the rage. So, let's say somebody has you under some sort of charm. Or you're like under the cause of dragon fright. If you rage, that effect ends while the rage is going. When you come back to your senses, if you will, you are then under that charm compulsion and the dragon fright once more. Personally, I would allow for another save against that. Just because, yes, you came out of a rage, that's going to linger in the back of your mind. That's still going to be there a little bit. So why am I going to immediately be afraid of it? Nah, I'd allow for a second roll. And Intimidating Presence. Beginning at 10th level, you can use your action to frighten someone with your menacing presence. When you do so, choose one creature that you can see within 30 feet of you. If the creature can see or hear you, it must succeed in a Wisdom saving throw. DC 10 equals 8 plus proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. Or be frightened of you until the end of your next turn. Now, if you're running frights like that, at least as a house rule for me, I would run that as 8 plus proficiency bonus plus your strength mod, then your charisma mod. Because you can be charismatic all you want. If your strength is an 8, you're not going to be physically intimidating. Let's see. On subsequent turns, you can use this action to extend the duration of the effect on the frightened creature until the end of your next turn. This effect ends if the creature ends its turn out of line of sight or more than 60 feet away from you. If the creature succeeds on its saving throw, you can't use this feature on the same creature again for 24 hours. And Retaliation. Starting at 14th level, when you take damage from a creature that is within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to make a melee attack against that creature. So pretty much you just become all kinds of battle hardened. Something hits you and actually deals damage, you hit them back. At least as long as they're within an arm's reach. Now, on the other side, we have Path of the Totem Warrior. The Path of the Totem Warrior is a spiritual journey, as the Barbarian accepts a spirit animal as a guide, protector, and inspiration. In battle, if your totem spirit will fill you with supernatural might, adding magical fuel to your barbarian rage. Most barbarian tribes consider a totem animal to be akin to a particular clan. In such cases, it is unusual for an individual to have more than one totem animal spirit, though exceptions do exist. So, Spirit Seeker. Yours is a path that seeks attunement with the natural world, giving you kinship with beasts. At 3rd level, when you adopt this path, you gain the ability to cast the Beast Sense and speak with animal spells, but only as rituals, as described in Chapter 10. So, you don't actually gain like a spellcasting class from this, but you can perform a ritual, become more one with nature, maybe do some peyote for a couple of days in the desert, and then you can cast Beast Sense or speak with animals. And that you get kind of regardless of what your totem spirit is going to be. That's just simply what you get as a class feature of going for the totemic path. Totem Spirit. At 3rd level, when you adopt this path, you choose a totem spirit to gain its feature. You must make or acquire a physical totem object, an amulet or similar adornment that incorporates fur or feathers, claws, teeth, or bones from the totem animal. So usually you're going to pick that animal as your spirit totem, you kill it first. Which is, I like it. I like that idea. At your option, you also gain minor physical attributes that are reminiscent of your totem spirit. For example, if you have a bear totem spirit, you might be unusually hairy and thick-skinned, or if your totem is the eagle, your eyes turn bright yellow. Your totem animal might be an animal related to those listed here, but more appropriate to your homeland. For example, you can use a hawk or a vulture in place of an eagle. So eagle would essentially be bird of prey. Bears are kind of, well, everywhere. They're bears. Same with the wolf. You could do like a hyena. I'm sure you could, like if you're doing like a really oriental campaign, maybe like a fox, something like that, or like a tanuki if you're doing like specifically like a Japanese era type thing. No, tanuki with a wolf would probably be a bad idea. I don't know. Talk with your DM. So, the bear listing. While raging, you have resistance to all damage except psychic damage. So, poison, fire damage, thunder damage, cold, you'd have resistance to all of it as long as it's not specifically psychic damage. The spirit of the bear makes you tough enough to stand up to any punishment, unless it's attacking your mind. Because, well, I've heard of being stubborn like an ox. Haven't ever heard being resistant as a bear. Oh well. The eagle entry. When you're raging and you aren't wearing heavy armor, other creatures have disadvantage on attacks of opportunity rolls against you. And you can use the dash action as a bonus action on your turn. The spirit of the eagle makes you into a predator who can weave through the fray with ease. So that's fun. Pretty much you become increasingly harder to hit when you're raging. When you follow the path of the eagle, you aren't just mindless. It's a matter of, I will kill you, but I'm going to do it with subtlety and a little bit of flair. And the wolf entry. When you are raging, your friends have advantage on melee attack rolls against any creature within 5 feet of you that is also hostile towards you. The spirit of the wolf makes you the leader of hunters. So that's more of an AoE thing. Let's say it's going to be you and like 2 of your allies against, let's go with like a stone golem. The stone golem is, actively, hostile towards you. It has attacked you at some point. Then your friends gain advantage against attack rolls on him so long as you are within striking distance of the golem. Aspect of the beast. At level 6, you gain a magical benefit based on the totem animal of your choice. You can choose the same animal you selected at 3rd level or a different one. This is where the whole exceptions exist thing. Usually if you're playing like a rigid tribe-land barbarian, you're going to stick with the same one all the way through, so it takes a little bit more forethought. But again, you don't have to, unless it's like a tribe banishment thing, then you probably shouldn't. But you can pick and mix and match any one of these for different combinations. So, aspect of the beast. For the bear, you gain the might of a bear. Your carrying capacity, including maximum load and lift, is doubled. You have advantage on strength checks made to push, pull, lift, or break objects. The eagle. You gain the eyesight of an eagle. You can see up to 1 mile away with no difficulty, able to discern even fine details as though looking at something no more than 100 feet away from you. Additionally, dim light doesn't impose disadvantage on your wisdom perception checks. That would be good. Wolf. You gain the hunting sensibilities of a wolf. Bark, bark. I laughed at that, I'm sorry. You can track other creatures while traveling at a fast pace. You can move stealthily while traveling at a normal pace. And normally you can't. You have to move slow to be going stealth. With the wolf aspect, I'm chasing you down, and you're not going to know I'm there. Spirit Walker. At 10th level, you can cast the Commune with Nature spell, but only as a ritual. When you do so, a spirit version of one of the animals you chose for the totem spirit or aspect of the beast appears to you to convey the information you seek. So, something kind of like Brother Bear. When What's-Her-Face, the whole little, I'm going to talk with my animals, and she could speak with the bears and all that. Kind of like that, but in a more ethereal sense. Not so much, I'm talking to an actual bear. Totemic Attunement. At 14th level, you gain a magical benefit based on a totem animal of your choice. Again, you can choose the same one you selected previously or a different one. Let's see, the bear entry. While you're raging, any creature within 5 feet of you that's hostile to you has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you and another character. With this feature, let's see, an enemy is immune to this effect if it can't see you or hear you, or if it can't be frightened. That's worded a little weird. Any creature within 5 feet of you that's hostile to you has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you or another creature. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what it's saying. So, pretty much when they're not attacking you or someone else who has this specific feature, they have disadvantage because you are seen as the biggest threat. They're going to be a little more hesitant to go elsewhere with it. The Eagle. While raging, you have a flying speed equal to your current walking speed. The benefit only works in short bursts. If you fall, if you end your turn in the air, and nothing else is holding you aloft. So this is more of a Samurai Jack type thing, to where you can fly, no fly, jump good. And the Wolf entry. While you're raging, you can use a bonus action on your turn to knock a large or smaller creature prone when you hit with a melee attack. This is significantly similar to the Wolf's trip ability. Pretty much if it hits you, it can make a trip attack as a free action with no type of attack of opportunity. Alright guys, this has been Nick Reeds from the Player's Handbook for 5th edition. That was the Barbarian entry. Stay tuned for the Bard. Going to be doing the Bard next.